Hey guys, as always, thanks for stopping by. Mr. 50 Cents, cancel culture, Chris Pratt, and a couple other issues. Yep, let's talk about that. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by all of you Patriots. You know what I'm going to say. Thumbs up. Y'all crush it all the time, so thanks. Comments down below are also fantastic as well. Thanks to everybody that last night checked to see if you were subscribed. Yeah, a bunch of y'all hollered at me and said, yep, once again. I saw what happened 2 days ago. YouTube just bang, a whole bunch of subscribers went down. I lose a few every day. That's normal, but to lose a big group all at once, fishy. And yes, by the way, don't start typing. Yes, I know it's 50 Cent, but I'm a white guy from Appalachia. Cut me some slack. Two things that we're going to talk about, Mr. Cents, and also about Chris Pratt and cancel culture, and then one other thing I think is important. Two things. One, I thought the conversation over the weekend was fantastic when we were talking about YouTube and money, paid shills, advertising, marketing, how things work here, and how that all affects you and your safe and my safe as well, how we purchase products. Great conversation. I don't leave the comment section that encouraged nearly as often, maybe ever. Like, I really, really appreciate your all's response. If you haven't seen that video, I think it's an interesting conversation. It's a short conversation. Like, that whole conversation could be a couple hours, but it's an overview of money here on YouTube, and y'all really encouraged me. Also, last night I thought the conversation on the AR-15, the question was, does the government know if you own an AR-15 or any firearm? Do they know if you have an assault weapon? That conversation was interesting as well. Now, it turns out, I think, overall, it looks like you all think a lot like I do. Yes, technically the government doesn't have one list anywhere. But in reality, we all know that stuff is probably tracked very, very carefully. That is reality. I don't think it takes a big tinfoil hat to believe that, but both of those, I think, are important. All right, let's get to today. A couple things. One, Mr. 50 Cents has decided that he is now supporting Trump. People are losing their minds. Now, the entire idea that a person of color or a black person must vote for the DNC is a very DNC idea. In fact, their pick, #1 guy right now, Sniffin Joe, has said that if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. And so the idea that you must stay on that blue plantation, it's a complicated issue. There's a lot of nuances there. People have a lot of feelings about that. But what really, like, follow the money, what really divides that line and draws the line for a lot of people, especially in California, is that tax rate that's going to kick in underneath Sniffin Joe. And you look at nearly 63% at the high-end tax level for folks that make a lot of money, and I don't begrudge them making anything, man. Go earn. They're saying enough is enough. One of my close friends is now in process in the next 6 weeks of leaving California. He is out because, and I don't know the 100% the reason. I suspect he's also leaving because of taxes. I haven't talked to him about why. Makes sense to me, but he has options. So 50 Cent is getting absolutely pummeled in social media today because he is not supporting Sniffin Joe Biden. I think it's more of a tax issue, and there's probably more of that to come. Also, speaking of cancel culture, man, they are really, really upset at Chris Pratt right now. They being cancel culture. I'm looking at my notes here. Breitbart did an article just yesterday about it. Over the last 2 days, Chris Pratt's name has trended on Twitter and in social media like big time, like big spikes, because people are super, super against him. Now, here's what's fascinating. Cancel culture is wanting him out because he did not attend an Avengers fundraiser for Sniffin Joe, and so they want him out. But what's interesting here is we do know that Chris Pratt does call himself, he names himself and identifies as a Christian. He is a Christian. But his overall beliefs, we don't know. It's all conjecture. You can chase it as far as you want to. People don't know. He has not come out and said who he's endorsing. He's not come out and said, like, really, really specifically what he stands for and what he believes. It's all 100% conjecture. We are in a time and an age right now of complete and utter cancel culture. One of my favorite actors, Mel Gibson, he lost 10 years, 10 prime years, 10 really good years of his life because he was canceled by the same idea. Yes, I know he said some bad things. I get it, but he was booted out. And so they're trying to get Chris Pratt out as well. What do you think about that? I think what's interesting is we live in a land where we're supposed to have freedom of speech. Say what you want. Think what you want. As long as you don't hurt other people or hurt puppy dogs and kittens, say what you want. But you say the wrong thing and whoop, you are out of there. So we got Mr. 50 Cent and we got Mr. Chris Pratt And then also the final one, I got a couple here also about Sniffin Joe, 'tis the season. There's two things that came out in the last 48 hours. One, there's an article that says that Biden is going to end the online sale of firearms, the online sales of ammo, the online sales of gun parts if he's president. That's we landed on the moon level stuff. Yes, we know that. I don't know why people are still reporting on that. But people are acting surprised and shocked. You know what you're getting if you vote the guy in. Like, you know what you're getting. Yes, a lot of stuff would end or at least be challenged higher than Virginia level challenges. Virginia's been nasty over the last year, so we would have that nationwide. Also, the other one about Sniffin Joe, they're talking about, this is from Breitbart, that his policy would tax gun owners $200 per for every high-capacity magazine. So it looks like, maybe, according to Breitbart, that they will be moving into just I don't know if it's a tax stamp, but similar to a tax stamp for an SBR or a suppressor, $200 flat fee for every high-capacity magazine. If I was taxed at that rate for every single high-cap, quote-unquote, magazine that I have, there's not enough Patreon dollars or enough t-shirt sales to cover all of that. So, whew. But, again, no big surprise. What do you think? My big question for today also, we're talking about 50 Cent, we're talking about Chris Pratt, cancel culture, and this nonsense underneath Sniffin Joe. What do you think is going to happen here in the next few weeks? I have a feeling, and I've not made a major election prediction, I have a feeling if it's an honest election, and that's a big jump, that's a big if. If it's an honest election, I think the T-Man, I think he landslides. I do. I think, look at his rallies, just look at it, I think so. But I don't know if it's going to be honest. So what do you think? Leave me a comment down below with any of those topics that we talked about. You guys absolutely rock. I'm currently working on Spicy Friday, so I think we're going to have another good one this week coming up. Hey, to anyone that is against us, our freedoms, or our ability to have knowledge in our hands, because this right here is power. By the way, whine all you want to about Apple right down below, yet you're typing that on a phone made in communist China. Nuh-uh, my phone was made in Korea. Stop it. Hey, to anyone that's against us or our way of life, yep, from my cold, dead hands, bye.